Good afternoon. For those of you I haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet, my name is Alexis Cumby, and I am the graduate assistant for the Center for Community-Based Partnerships. And so welcome to the first day of our 2021 Excellence in Community Engagement Awards. Each year, the Council on Community-Based Partnership recognizes and celebrates outstanding community-engaged scholarship efforts. This year will be a three-part event across 3 consecutive days, and I hope you will join us each day as your schedule allows. Today, we will recognize our exemplary poster presentations, which highlights a variety of community engagement efforts, and we will announce the recipient of the Zachary David Dotson Memorial Endowed Scholarship. The remaining segments of our annual Excellence in Community Engaged Awards will take place tomorrow, Wednesday, the 21st, and the following day, Thursday, the 22nd. The segments begin at 1 p.m. each day and are accessible at the Zoom link you used to join us today. So at this time, I asked Dr. Peter Halebowicz, Dean of the College of Education and Chair of the Executive Committee on the Council on Community-Based Partnerships, to share his thoughts. So how about we all give him a virtual round of applause?
Well, thank you so much, Alexis. I could hear it. So good afternoon, everybody. It's really an exciting day for me. I've been very much looking forward to it. Because really, this is the day that we celebrate really the remarkable achievements and individual efforts that very much embody the work of the Council of Community-Based Partnerships. And a lot of this work, which is done on the ground with people, trying to lift people's lives up, is not only important work, but it's often thankless work. It kind of often goes recognized, but not today. Today, it's thankful work, and we're going to recognize it. We're going to talk about the people who are out there making a difference. So it's really a great celebration and a great honor for me to be part of it. So I congratulate all these individuals who we're going to recognize today. I really very much thank you for your dedicated work, and I'm very much looking forward for the rest of the agenda to follow. So thank you again, Alexis, and let's get the action started here.
Thank you. I now invite Dr. George Daniels, Associate Professor of Journalism and Creative Media and the Chair of the Council's Excellent and Community Engagement Recognition Committee, to share his thoughts as well.
Thanks, Alexis. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm just thinking about what has changed in the last year. Last year, this time, we were lamenting the fact that we couldn't have our event at the Bryant Conference Center, and we eventually were able to do something to recognize those who were our 2020 winners in an environment where they could be recognized in person, and then we could share that visuals. And it was a great event for the winners, but we didn't get a lot of people to attend because it was an on-site event with a limited attendance. Well, what a difference a few months makes, because now we're able to do something not just at one time, but over several days. I'm thinking about this event many years ago when it was at the Hotel Capstone in the ballroom, and we had a little area outside the ballroom for all the poster presentations. And then eventually we outgrew the Hotel Capstone. We moved to the Bryant Conference Center and Sellers Auditorium, and having all of those great posters. And I think over the 3 years prior to 2019, maybe more, we added a showcase for our scholars for community outreach, partnership, and engagement. Our students were able to talk about their research, get feedback on the projects they were working on, and then we would move from the scope showcase to our poster presentations. And then at 11:30, we would go to the table and we would have lunch, and then the awards be presented. Well, you know what? We've really outgrown that one day. And now we're doing it over 3 days. And today our focus primarily, I would argue, is on our students. A couple of years ago, we opened a space just for student organizations. And today, in just a few seconds, you're going to be hearing more about our Student Community Engaged Center. But then you're also going to hear more about one scholarship. So that's just the first day. The other thing I want to mention is, as we've outgrown spaces and gone to 3 days, is recognizing this year that even in the area of community engagement, we're thinking more broadly about that this year. It used to be that community engaged scholarship, the research and the journal, that was what we did. And then other people did the classes, and then other people did the civic learning or civic engagement. Well, you know what? In our Council for Community-Based Partnerships, we are thinking much broader about the definition of community engaged scholarship. And this year, starting today and continuing on through our event on Thursday, you're going to see civic engagement, you're going to see community engaged learning, and you're going to see the traditional scholarship recognized as we talk about community engagement at the University of Alabama. So I want us to think about not just making do, but making new. That our events this week are about doing things in a new way and seeing what opportunities they can afford us. New relationships, new connections, but also new ways of thinking about the good work we do with our community partners. I look forward to all the things that are going to happen today, tomorrow, and Thursday. Alexis, back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Daniels. We will hear from our poster presenters momentarily, but first, we are going to kick off today by recognizing the students, student organizations, and colleges who contribute within our Student Community Engagement Center. The SCEC officially opened in April 2019. Located within the Center for Community-Based Partnerships at Capitol Hall, the SCEC mission is to engage students and community partners in mutually beneficial partnerships to identify and address critical community opportunities by connecting engagement to university's missions of teaching, research, and service. I now invite Dr. Drew Pearl, Director of Community Engagement Research and Publications at the Center for Community-Based Partnerships, to share more about the work SCC is doing, as well as some very exciting updates.
Thanks very much, Alexis. Hello, my name is Drew Pearl, and as Alexis mentioned, one of the programs that I have the privilege of working with is the Student Community Engagement Center. In the SCEC, we support students who are looking to connect community engagement to the amazing work that they're already doing, whether it be through teaching, research, service, or a combination of those different mission areas. We advance this work by developing students as community leaders, by facilitating synergy and transdisciplinary collaboration across departments in order to improve the quality of life for individuals and communities through community and research-based approaches. In the SCEC, we recognize and embrace students as equal partners and colleagues in the work of community engagement. In the spirit of full participation, we believe that the insight, creativity, and energy that students bring to community-university partnerships are all critical to our overall success. Our goal through the SCEC is to provide necessary space and resources to students to achieve their goals while we build a campus-wide network of student leaders. This year, we initiated 2 new programs to help us work toward that mission: the SCEC Leadership Academy and the SCEC Anchor Organizations. I'm going to invite Alexis back to tell you a bit more about the Leadership Academy and to recognize our inaugural cohort.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Pearl. I'm so stoked for the work that the SCC Leadership Academy has done this year. So the goal of the Leadership Academy is to develop student leaders of community engaged scholarship at the University of Alabama. So this year we chose a cohort of undergraduate and graduate students that met monthly to discuss the fundamentals of community engagement, strategies for leading community engaged scholarship, and emerging trends. And so members of the Leadership Academy had the distinct honor to serve the campus and community leaders to advance community engaged scholarship, take a role in our organization called SCOPE, which is Scholars for Community Outreach, Partnership, and Engagement, and act as a liaison between the Student Community Engagement Center and other university organizations and networks in which they are engaged. And so I just want to take a moment to honor our inaugural class of the Leadership Academy. As we pull this up, I cannot stress enough the grit that these students had to just navigate this in unprecedented times, and we are really thankful to have them sort of set the standard of what this Leadership Academy will be. So we have Tyler Fowler, Meredith Prescott, Ian Noonan, Abby Slusser, Claire Weiss, Sarah York, and Whitney Ziegler. And thank you all again for the students on this call who, once again, have just done amazing work and sort of stood the test of this time. Back to you, Dr. Pearl.
Thanks, Alexis. Anchor organizations in the SCEC are student groups that seek to deepen and strengthen their community engaged scholarship. These organizations have dedicated office space in the SCEC over in Capitol Hall. They work to develop an action plan for advancing their community partnerships and engagement initiatives, and they assess and evaluate the impact of their work. In a way, we hope that the SCEC can serve as a bit of an incubator for anchor organizations as they make connections across disciplines and grow the potential positive impact of their work in partnership with the community. Our inaugural class of anchor organizations have persevered through the many obstacles that have come along with the pandemic, and I've been impressed with their creativity and dedication to their missions and engagement with their community partners. I'm proud to recognize the first cohort of SCEC anchor organizations: the Tuscaloosa Rocketry Challenge, Design for America, the Patterson Scholars Literacy Organization, the Public Relations Student Society of America, and Eta Sigma Gamma and Hands in Health. Many thanks and congratulations to all the students and advisors on a successful year as we continue to make the Student Community Engagement Center more than just a space. Now back to Alexis.
Thank you, Dr. Pearl. Let's just give them a round of applause and congratulations to our Academy participants and SCEC anchor organizations. At this time, I invite Katie Johnson, the 2021 recipient of the Zachary David Dotson Scholarship, to introduce the 2021 recipient.
Hi, Zachary Dotson was a work-study student in the Center for Community-Based Partnerships and was known as someone who you could always count on to get his work done and then offer to help others with theirs. At the time of his death in 2012, Zach was scheduled to graduate magna cum laude from the university with a degree in economics. The scholarship named in his memory is intended for a person with the qualities of excellence and faithfulness reflected during his time at the University of Alabama. This year, the Scholarship Committee of the Division of Community Affairs has selected Chris Brewster as the 2021 recipient of the Zachary David Dotson Memorial Endowed Scholarship. Chris, who is a Pinson, Alabama native, is a sophomore majoring in accounting. He began working in the Center for Community-Based Partnerships as a freshman, where he has worked at the front desk, greeting and assisting visitors, and with the center's Global Cafe initiative as a language tutor for international scholars, helping them learn conversational English and understand American language and culture. Additionally, Chris has volunteered his time with the center's Vision Day program as a campus-wide effort focusing on early recruitment of high school students from selected schools. For Vision Days, Chris takes responsibility for groups of students as he leads them on curated campus tours. He also participates in student-led panels that are a central part of the program. While not assigned to work every session of Vision Days, he has chosen to work every shift for which he is available in order to ensure the success of the program. Please join me in congratulating Chris Brewster.
Thank you. I'm really thankful to receive this scholarship, and I just like to have the opportunity for being able to help and work with the community. And I really enjoyed Vision Days, working with the high schools to see the excitement on their faces, because college is a big step, and being able to start early and learn a little bit more about what you're going to be able to get into is a really good process. And I wish I would have had the opportunity to do this when I was in high school, because it would have changed a lot. It would have been a big improvement on getting to know what kind of other organizations I could have been a part of. And just working with language partners with Global Cafe is a real working with language partners is really interesting, because I love sharing the culture that we have here in America and learning about other cultures that they have and they get to share. And it's a really good program.
Thank you, Katie, and congratulations again, Chris. One more round of applause as we just enjoy this beautiful picture of Chris receiving his award. Thank you. I would now like to ask Dr. Daniels to introduce our poster presentations.
Well, if you were actually at the Bryant Conference Center, this is the time when you'd get a chance to go into Sellers and you would mill around and see the visual presentations of the great partnerships that are happening across the campus. You get a chance to engage with each of our community engaged faculty and students and staff. We can't do that exactly the same way today, but first of all, I want us to be reminded when we talk about engaged scholarship, we're talking about combining teaching, research, and service with communities, and that's going to happen outside the campus. These partnerships have a goal of creating sustained, positive change in both the community outside, but the academy inside. And so when we talk about engaged scholarship here at the University of Alabama, we are talking about a reciprocal relationship that's conducted in an atmosphere of mutual respect and at the same time an understanding of both partner needs. So it's not just what we need at the University of Alabama, it's not just what the community partner needs, but recognizing what we both need. And so today, our poster presenters are going to talk about the work where they're involving students and give you a glimpse of community engagement. We want to, before we even see the first presentation, we want to thank our academic conference and presentation committee members for reviewing all the submissions for our poster presentations. And the way we're going to do this is there's a video for each of our presentations. And then after that video, there'll be a short time for you to ask questions. We also want to ask those poster presenters to tell us live, what does this contribute to the university's community engagement mission? So let's go with our very first presenter today, and that is Bali Guile. We'll see that video first.
Are y'all sharing it or am I?
And I will tell you,
I'm getting,
you actually are sharing your video.
I'm getting it pulled up right now.
Is Bali here?
Bali is here. I'm going to share,
Okay.
I'm going to share it. And then, so Bali, I actually have a PowerPoint saved for you. Are you just going to talk about your PowerPoint?
It has a voiceover on the PowerPoint.
Okay, amazing. I'm going to get that started then.
And while this is happening, this is Bailey's advisor. Her name is Bailey, just to clarify.
Thank you, Holly. All right, Bailey, 1 second.
How about a virtual round of applause for Bailey?
We should tell you an extended version of these presentations is also going to be available on our website. So you're getting a snippet of it today.
Sorry, y'all.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending our presentation. My name is Bailey Gall, an anthropology doctoral student.
And my name is Emily Locke, a first-year anthropology master's student. This project began in fall 2020 during Dr. Holly Horan's nutritional anthropology class, in which she taught students how to conduct community-engaged research that incorporated experiential learning. This project was co-coordinated with Dr. Horan and her students, with students being responsible for connecting with community partners, coordinating volunteer schedules, and designing a mini research project that incorporated both student and community member goals. One such partnership was with Schoolyard Roots. And it's important to note that one of the objectives of our nutritional anthropology class was to understand how families in Tuscaloosa access healthful foods. As anthropologists, we are interested in examining barriers and facilitators to resources that improve the health and well-being of local communities. Schoolyard Roots was of interest because of their commitment to harvesting fresh foods from the garden and sharing this experience with students. More specifically, Schoolyard Roots is a local nonprofit organization that partners with 11 local elementary schools to provide garden education during the school day through hands-on learning. Their mission is to increase access to fresh, locally grown produce and empower our community to make healthy and sustainable food choices.
After I reached out to Schoolyard Roots to see if there are ways in which our class could provide support for their services, Schoolyard Roots suggested working together to plan a family meal event for their students. The nutritional anthropology team, including myself, Emily, Lexi Gress, and Dr. Haran, met with Schoolyard Roots on November 19th, 2020, to discuss Schoolyard Roots' vision for the event. Afterwards, the students planned event logistics by creating an outline for in-person and virtual events, in addition to designing a fundraising timeline. On December 7th, the nutritional anthropology team presented their ideas to Schoolyard Roots to receive feedback. From January to April 2021, the nutritional anthropology team met with the Schoolyard Roots team to continue event planning, establish action items, and meet deadlines. On February 5th, UA's Division of Community Affairs Center for Community-Based Partnerships informed us that they would kindly sponsor the family meal event. The event will be virtually hosted on April 24th by two Schoolyard Root garden educators, myself and Emily Locke. This event is really important to us because as a team, we are working at the community level to address food insecurity in Tuscaloosa. The day before the event, Schoolyard Roots and the nutritional anthropology team will be providing fresh vegetables from the gardens and recipe ingredients to the 20 families registered for the event. Each family will also receive one $70 Visa gift card so they can remake the recipe at home. On the day of the event, Schoolyard Roots will conduct a cooking demonstration for families over Zoom.
As community engaged researchers, maintaining a reciprocal, sustainable partnership is really important to us. This is why we are proud to announce that the Department of Anthropology will continue supporting Schoolyard Roots each year so that this event can be hosted annually. In the words of Natalie Wolf, a garden educator at Schoolyard Roots, we are so excited to share this opportunity with students and their families in the near future. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of the conference.
So do we have some questions for Bailey? That's a great presentation. Thank you so much for talking with us. We've been working with Schoolyard Roots as a campus for a long time. I don't see a question for Bailey in the chat, but I do want to ask Bailey if you could talk about the weather and if you thought the weather was an impact on this work in the community this year. And I asked that as a community engaged instructor because I know when we worked with that particular program, there were so many cancellations because of rain. How did that impact the work that you were doing this semester with the Department of Anthropology?
I want to take a brief second to introduce Emily Locke too here on this call, who is on the poster as well. With the weather, we actually created both an virtual event because of COVID, not exactly knowing what the restrictions would be there, and an in-person event. We didn't actually go into their gardens. We have been a lot behind the scenes, helping them navigate their plans and working with them to see what their vision was for this event.
Excellent, excellent. I see Holly is in the room. Holly, do you want to comment at all on this partnership since you had a big role in it? They mentioned you earlier. You need to unmute yourself.
You'd think I would know better at this point. Good afternoon, everybody, and wonderful job, Bailey, Emily, Lexi, the students involved in this work. I'm so proud of you all. You know, the most important thing for me when I was teaching this class was getting our anthro students more engaged in thinking about community engaged research. I think there's sort of an implicit, or people believe that because we study people and human variation that we're inherently good at working with communities. But in fact, we could use some work in that skill set. And so one of my goals within the department is to encourage engaging and prioritizing the needs of communities. And so that's what we really tried to do in this class. And all of the students who were enrolled in this class took it on and dealt with some of the wonderful outcomes of this work, as well as some of the ambiguity and the hard work that is involved, and sort of figuring things out with community partners and meeting each other where we're at. So It's been an honor to teach them, and I'm hoping to continue to provide this class. But like Bailey and Emily shared in their presentation, we do intend on this being a partnership between Schoolyard Roots and our department and potentially others, so we can host this event annually.
Excellent. Holly and Emily and Bailey, thank you so much. Outstanding job. One more applause for them. I'll do an audible one there. Our next presenter is Zev Goldberg. Zev, you're on.
Great, thank you so much. Good afternoon. My name is Zev Goldberg, and I'm a junior studying public health. I've been an undergraduate research assistant at the Center for Community-Based Partnerships for the past year. Today, I'll be presenting our presentation titled Home First, an anchor institution's asset building approach to promote housing stability among low to moderate income populations. I would like to thank all the partners listed on the screen. The situation regarding home ownership in Tuscaloosa is unique because we are a college town. A 5-year study found that housing prices are increasing and the non-student housing market is very tight. Supply will meet demand hypothetically, but not in reality. There is an abundance of housing options for students, but not enough for permanent residents. Colleges and universities have a long-standing history of service as change agents in local community and economic development. The Home First program is an initiative of the Center for Community-Based Partnerships at the University of Alabama. This unique position allows Home First to leverage statewide economic, academic, and community capacity of an anchor institution such as the University of Alabama. Home ownership contributes to positive health, wealth, education, and overall quality of life for households. Affordable, stable housing is a key component of financial security. Yet, significant barriers prevent families from stable housing. With high living costs, wages stagnating, debt increasing, and credit scores decreasing, the majority of Americans struggle to find a path to housing stability. This is especially true for minorities. First-time homeownership remains inaccessible for many Alabama residents, particularly for underserved and low-income households. Communities have felt the very personal effects of a shifting global economy. As a result, many communities have experienced sustained instability. Meanwhile, large place-based nonprofit entities such as colleges and universities have remained and increased their presence. These are anchor institutions due to their spatial immobility, and they have a duty and capacity to help their communities thrive. This brings us to Home First. The goal of this program was to create a financial wellness course using the resources that we have at the University of Alabama as an anchor institution. The course itself would primarily be taught by students in the Honors College. The program has several focuses: to teach participants how to save money, to talk about money management habits, specifically budgeting, to teach participants about banks, to work on credit skills and understanding, to work to create a debt reduction plan, and to prepare home buyer readiness. With our student coaches, we focused on skills such as active listening and gave them background on understanding the perspective of the people they would be coaching. We used a financial capability score test to assess participants before and after the program. 25 individuals participated in the initial pilot of Home First. Home First provided more than 110 individual coaching sessions and 25 program referrals to community resources. The average participant scored a 4.0 on the FCS at entry and a 5.5 on exit. These are real examples of people who were able to successfully purchase a home after our program. We are tremendously proud. In 2019, we expanded the program further to serve more participants. We now serve Hale and Greene counties as well as Tuscaloosa County. This year's program has been online due to COVID-19, but the program remains effective and we are onboarding UAB to continue the program. We believe that Home First represents an excellent model of how an anchor institution should help the community. Thank you for your time.
Round of applause for Zev. Again, if you have a question for Zev about Home First, this is a great opportunity to ask that question as those are coming into the chat. Zev, I would ask you, as a partner with Hale County, what have you found to be the biggest lessons for students? And you're in the Honors College, right? What do you think have been the biggest things you've learned as students in working with Hale County, working with Greene County, working with Tuscaloosa and Home First?
Yeah, I think that's an excellent question. I think that what I've learned the most is that you really have to do the hard work for outreach. And it's hard to do in some of these counties because a lot of the phone numbers listed on websites are not accurate. Sometimes the websites themselves aren't updated, but there are people there who want to talk to us and want to work with us. So if you do the hard work, for instance, we created a document that had about, I think, 80 organizations we reached out to. And some of the organizations we would contact and we would say, can we get contact information for these other organizations? You have to work. And, sometimes I called the public library in Hale County probably about 6 times because the first 5 times it just didn't go through. 6th time it went through, we got flyers there. So if you put in the work, there will be someone to talk to you.
Did you find being virtual this year was a big of a made it more difficult to do the program, or were you able to quickly pivot and just?
Yeah, I think that in some ways it made it more difficult because a lot of people we serve don't have great access to internet, which was really hard in terms of getting. We have a lot of forms people have to fill out, privacy information, and et cetera. So that was a very hard logistical challenge. But for people who live in Hale and Greene County who can't make the trip to Tuscaloosa, I think the virtual format was actually very beneficial. In terms of reaching out to organizations, I think that it was probably about equal to if it was a normal year.
Excellent, excellent. As a first-time homeowner, I have learned so much about just all the paperwork that has to be done. And I've actually just recently refinanced, and just going through that whole process was eye-opening. And I think that the more you can share with people to make them homeowners and change the dynamic of a community, the impact can be immeasurable. So this is wonderful. Now I know what the term anchor institution means.
Yeah, it's a very, very important concept for sure.
Any more questions for Zev? Well, thank you so much, Zev. Outstanding work. Hope you'll be able to continue that as we go into the 2021-2022 school year.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Well, we're going to go from the Home First program to Perry County, and Eva Butler is our next presenter as we continue.
Hi, my name is Eva Butler. I am the founder and executive director of Choice. Choice is a resource-based nonprofit organization headquartered in Uniontown, Alabama. Our mission is to provide charitable and educational resources in 6 key focus areas: workforce development, education, health and wellness, mentoring, arts, and athletic and recreation. In 2018, Choice opened its first Youth Resource Center in Uniontown, Alabama. The center is located on Hamburg-Duncan Road off of County Road 12. Through its programming, services, and activities, the Resource Center serves as a community hub with the objective to increase self-sufficiency, employability, and the overall quality of life of the people within the community. The success of the organization is grounded by its innovative leaders, dedicated team of volunteers, solid collaborative partnerships, and a trusting relationship with the community. The health of the community and the people within has been one of the organization's primary focuses, especially during the outbreak of the coronavirus. In partnership with the Health Occupation Student Association of Robert C. Hatch High School and the students of the University of Alabama's Capstone College of Nursing, Choice was able to identify the 3 health challenges within the households of our community. Those identified were diabetes, high blood pressure, and asthma. During one of our collaboration meetings, we asked ourselves, how can we help the people of the community improve their health while improving the health of the city? We came to the county line on County Road 12, the 2 miles on 12. This is a community health project that allows volunteers to participate in the health of their community and their own personal health. The students of Robert C. Hatch High School and the University of Alabama Capstone College of Nursing will be on site to do preliminary health assessments prior to the volunteers beginning their journey to pick up trash and other litter that has been thrown into the ground on County Road 12. After the volunteers have returned, the students will weigh the amount of trash and litter that has been picked up and do a post-health assessment. We will also have our resource partners readily available to provide preventive information on how to improve and maintain quality health. There will also be prizes and awards made available to those who participate on a regular basis, as well as who shows an improvement in their health. Supplies for the Community Health Project are provided by Keep Alabama Beautiful and other health partners. We thank the Choice Youth Advisory Committee, the students of Robert C. Hatch High School HOSA Association and their leader, Mrs. Eliza Dudley, and the students of the University of Alabama Capstone College of Nursing and their leaders, Dr. Michael Callahan and Dr. Sarah Kaler, for participating in the success and sustainability of this great opportunity for our community. For more information about Choice or 2 miles on 12, please call us, email us, visit us, or just stop by.
And as we come back live here now, we have Eva Butler on the call. Ms. Butler, thank you so much for sharing with us this great partnership. I do want you to talk about how all of this represents engagement, community engagement. That's what this is all about. Give us your take on what you've just described and how it represents community engagement.
Sure. And Dr. Daniels, if I may, being in rural Alabama, I just want to thank all of the students and their leaders for what they have done, not just in Perry County, but in all of the counties, especially in our Black Belt region. Oftentimes we lack a whole lot of resources. So to see what I've seen today, it warms my heart. So I would be remiss if I didn't share my appreciation on behalf of our Black Belt in West Alabama County. So thank y'all so much and give yourselves a round of applause for that. And so Choice in this partnership with our high school as well as a college, one of the things that I know community engagement does is it helps people see where they can go. So when you look at our student body here in Uniontown at Robert C. Hatch and around us, oftentimes they don't get to connect to various universities, especially the University of Alabama. And so to engage not only those students from our local high school, but to engage college students as well, who have a similar interest, and that's going into the healthcare field. It has been our belief through our laboring that once you introduce them, not only do they start it, but they finish it. So community partnerships allows others to see what they can be, and it encourages them to finish it. And that's all we simply try to do. We don't worry about what we don't have. We engage the community, and not just our own community, but the community around us, so that no community, no household, no individual will lack anything that could be made readily available to them. So it's our work. And as we see here, and we're experiencing it right now, we're all owning it and doing our part. And that's what community partnerships really are.
Outstanding, outstanding. I got to ask you, you talked about the 2 miles on 12. That's a really innovative event where you're going down County Road 12, you're collecting things that need to be collected and gotten rid of. You're also connecting. So you're collecting and connecting. You're connecting the university students and the residents in Perry County and Uniontown. But in your discussion about the choice program and choice, you also talked about workforce development and education. Tell us a couple of things that are happening in that area too with your organization.
Sure. Thank you so much for that opportunity, Dr. Daniels. So workforce development, well, let's start with education, right? So, because knowledge is wisdom. Knowledge is power, right? And I often tell our students that wisdom is simply knowledge used. That if you use the knowledge, you become a wise man and you can go anywhere, okay? And so when we look at education, one of the things that we started this year because of COVID-19, and let me just be honest, we had to do a total shift, right? Because of the coronavirus. And so one of the things that many of you may know or will become to know is that in our rural communities, we lack quality broadband access, right? And so even though COVID prevented a lot of people from going to work in the normal way, it did not prevent us or tell us to prevent a halt from educating our students in our K-12 students, right? And so because of the lack of broadband internet access, as well as work and parents, we as a community had to do something. Community engagement. What we did was we brought the community volunteers to the table and we asked, how can we help these families? And so Choice is a remote learning site where we have 9 students who come to Choice Monday through Thursday to engage with their teacher while their parents work, or they take advantage of the internet that they do not have at home. And we've continued to have our tutoring session with students from communities around us, as well as we have our Choice Youth Advisory Council, which are 9th through 12th grade students. And not only are they responsible for maintaining academic excellence, they're also responsible for engaging with their community. And then that's what leads up to workforce development. It's preparation, right? And so we are preparing the students who are currently being educated in a world that they have no control of. And so as we prepare them, then they not only become more productive citizens, but they become quality employees as they engage in what they desire to be rather than what they're forced to be. And so we have great partnerships with the Selma Career Center, who is our regional workforce council, where we have students that come and they get paid to work. And then we also have some community partners that says that if you do the work around Choice, that we will pay you. And through our partnership with Wallace Community College and Shelton State Community College, we're offering ready to work. And with that ready to work participation, you do get laptop and you do get support in ensuring that you have access to internet. And so when you put it all together, Dr. Daniels, you get it, community engagement, right?
There you go. There you go. I would imagine there are some people on this call today, on this meeting, who would love to connect with some of those students. And maybe there's another leg to your partnership that could be developed just with that education and workforce development piece. But I really love that. Wisdom is simply knowledge used. Got to use that knowledge, right?
Yes, yes, yes. And I welcome anyone. I'm going to put our contact information. I'm going to put my contact information in the chat box, as well as the contact information for Choice. Feel free to use it. We have built some other partnerships at the University of Alabama, and it actually started right here with Dr. Pruitt and his team. And so we're so thankful for the birthing opportunities that are becoming before our community, because again, Choice is a resource-based organization. The opportunities are out there, right? But it's all about connecting the people to the resources, as Dr. Daniel says. And there's 2 barriers that prevents our people from having access to resources: communication and transportation. And that's why we're housed in Uniontown, and we like to make partnerships because we'll bring the people to you as well.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Eva Butler, thank you so much for sharing your partnerships work today, and let us know that there are opportunities, and we will definitely be following up with you. Let's give her a hand again.
Thanks.
We want to keep things moving. We're at about 47 minutes in, and we do have some more exciting partnerships to tell you more about. Our next presenter is Lillian Slaughter. Lillian Slaughter.
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Lily Slaughter, and I'm here today to talk about the perinatal health crisis in Alabama and how we've collaborated with different communities throughout the state to address this crisis. The intent of this research is to foster community relationships within the maternity care community. This includes physicians, professionals, and mothers. In this needs assessment project, we asked the members of the community these following questions. What is working well in maternal and infant health in Alabama? What could be improved? And what do you think should be done to improve these issues? These statistics give insight into the state of maternal and infant health in Alabama. Alabama is the second worst state to give birth in, 45th in infant mortality, and 48th for infants born with low birth weight and preterm. In this project, our top 3 objectives were to 1, identify the top maternal and infant health priorities of project stakeholders, 2, examine the relationships between the perspective of mothers and maternal and infant health providers and professionals, and 3, foster collaborative partnerships between the University of Alabama, students, professors, partners in the community, and research participants. Our research process consists of 3 phases. Phase 1 involved interviewing 25 maternal and infant health providers and professionals. In Phase 2, we conducted 6 focus groups with mothers from every perinatal health region in Alabama. We are currently in Phase 3, which is data analysis that will result in a data sharing event this upcoming August. Through our research and collaboration with the communities of Alabama, we have been able to build many partnerships with strongholds of the community throughout the 5 regions of Alabama. From healthcare professionals to mental health professionals, we have established relationships with those who care about making a change. In regions 1 through 5, we collaborated with various providers and professionals, including doulas, physicians, registered dietitians, registered nurses, nurse practitioners, perinatal health coordinators, and various other professionals and organizations. Additionally, the mothers who have participated in our focus groups have become vital partners in our research. The most important part of this project is the perspectives of those who participated. We pulled some quotes from our interviews to provide those perspectives. As mentioned in the first quote, it all has to start with the community, as community awareness and involvement are both incredibly important. Our second quote notes the importance of involvement beyond just birth work. Education and self-advocacy are both vital to the betterment of perinatal health in Alabama. This last quote speaks to hope for the future, hope for a healthier future and an improvement in maternity care. As this provider notes, we must all work together to achieve these goals. I'd like to thank the providers, professionals, and mothers who have participated in this study. I'd also like to thank the University of Alabama, the Arts and Sciences Department, our research team, our graduate student Emily Locke, and our advisor, Dr. Holly Horan.
Thank you, Lily. I'm assuming you're one of those graduate students, right?
No, I'm an undergraduate student. I'm a sophomore.
You're a sophomore and you're involved in that kind of research? That is excellent. That is what undergraduate research involvement is all about. Wow, I want to congratulate you for being involved in this as an undergraduate. I want to get more understanding about why it's important to be connected to the community partner when you're trying to address something like infant mortality or concerns about the birth situation in Alabama, 45th. Why is the community partnership so important?
Well, we think community partnerships are incredibly important because you can look at these statistics all you want, but like really, what can you do about them unless you know how people are feeling? I think Dr. Haran would agree with me that the mothers are probably the most important participants in our project, because really it's these mothers who are going in and they're giving birth and they're having these terrible experiences and no one's listening to them. And so what we're trying to do is create this like support community so that people will listen to these mothers and people will be able to change how the maternity care community interacts with these mothers. So, I mean, it's incredibly important to listen to people. And one of the ways we do that is by fostering these relationships and creating these kind of partnerships between these mothers and these providers and professionals so that we can improve the quality of maternity care in Alabama.
I want to remind our audience that this is an opportunity for you to ask Lily and her team. Dr. Haran is also still on the call about this partnership. Put your questions in the chat. We have time to ask more questions about this, but I do want to understand, Lily and Dr. Haran, if you want to chime in, when we talk about infant mortality, how is it that Alabama has such a challenge with this and other states may not find this as challenging? What are some of the dynamics in our state that make this a challenge for us?
Well, I can sort of start, and if Dr. Haran can kind of fill in, but just talking to a bunch of these like physicians and these mothers, it basically is, okay, well, let me start. So first of all, recording these statistics we're terrible at. So like any sort of statistics we're getting, they're not super recent. They're from around like maybe 2017, 2018, because we're really bad as a state as a whole, kind of recording this information and also sharing it with other people. And then Dr. Haran.
No problem, Lily. Wonderful job presenting this work and giving us sort of a preliminary discussion about this project. So going along with what Lily said, and this is based on both the work that I do and the narratives from the people that we've been speaking with, is there's a number of different factors involved. And one of them, as many of us are familiar with, has to do with social determinants of health, right? But that's also intimately linked with structural and institutional barriers to improving health. So when we think about maternal and infant health care in the state of Alabama, it's not necessarily, it's not always an issue of a lack of providers, though there are issues with access in rural versus urban areas, but it's the distribution of services and the closing of rural areas to provide care that have really impacted these outcomes, as well as pervasive and structural oppression and racism, right? We know that plays a big role in our healthcare system as well, and that's something that's come out in our interviews and in our focus groups with mothers. So I would say that the biggest issues are predominantly at the structural level. And if you don't have sort of the structural or institutional support to sustainably and equitably improve social determinants of health, it's really hard to move forward and make progress on improving these statistics.
I know our time is limited, but and I'm looking, I don't see any questions in the chat. From a research standpoint, when we talk about going out and doing research, we go often and we collect data, we bring it back, we analyze it, we write our papers, and we submit our manuscripts for publication. But you talked about a data sharing event coming up in August. Why is that data sharing event important, and how is that a part of your process?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is actually super fun because Dr. Haran mentions all the time. One of her biggest things is like exactly that. In the research process, you get this data, you analyze it, you create a paper. But one of her biggest things is like, what about the people who were involved in the research that aren't necessarily professors or these professionals that are going to read these papers? So she is really big into sharing that information, giving it back to the community to let them know like, hey, this is what we found and this is potentially what we're going to do about it, which I've learned is so incredibly important, because how are you just going to like have all this information, involve these people, and then like kind of leave them high and dry, not let them know anything afterwards. So we're super excited about that. We're currently in the process of analyzing this data, finding, our common things. And then I know Dr. Haran's super excited about it, and I'm super excited about it, and the rest of our research team is too. So
I'll just add to that really brief. I'm sorry, do I have time, Dr. Daniels, to say a quick comment?
About 30 seconds.
Okay, great. I'll be very quick. And one of the things that we are also looking forward to with this event is to have a platform in which providers and professionals and mothers can be speaking in the same space that isn't necessarily going to a conference or isn't necessarily at some sort of event where there isn't an abundant opportunity for dialogue. So we're really hoping for some cross collaboration between the participants in the event as well.
Thank you so much. This has been an outstanding example of community engaged scholarship, and it's in progress. So we look forward to seeing more from you next year. And Lily, we look forward to seeing you do this as a graduate student one day. I'm excited to see you doing this as a second-year student at the University of Alabama. Let's give them a hand. At this time, we want to call on a team, Kate Taylor and Malika Freeman. They're going to tell us about their community partnership.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our presentation today. My name is Kate Taylor, and I'm
George, can you hear this?
I am not hearing that audio. It looks like we might have. Let's re-rack that and try it again.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our presentation today. My name is Kate Taylor, and I'm an assistant in the Center for Community-Based Partnerships. And I'm joined here for our Vision Days Legacy presentation by Daniela Suznara, also staff in CCP, and also Malika Freeman, who is our first undergraduate Vision Days Legacy ambassador. So the purpose of our project is to explore the creation and implementation of a virtual mentorship program that we've created this past year to benefit students' sense of belonging.
Looks like we're having some technical problems with the playback on that. Let's try hitting play one more time. Maybe that was
let me back it up.
Maybe an issue with back it up just a little bit.
To benefit first-year college students' sense of belonging and enrollment retention. So our program has been running for the past couple of years called Vision Days. And
you know what we're gonna do, George? I'm just gonna go ahead and pull up the original because I have access to that. So give me 1 second.
Let's do it.
We can always go live if we need to, but let's try doing the original.
I'm a little worried. I'm gonna go ahead and get
it's not quite TV, but it's almost TV and it's live. So thank you for bearing with us as we work through the technical challenges with playing videos and at the same time trying to send them through the Zoom channel. Sometimes they don't work as well as we want them to.
Okay, let's go ahead and give this a try again.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our presentation today. My name is Kate Taylor, and I'm an assistant in the Center for Community-Based Partnerships. And I'm joined here for our Vision Days Legacy presentation by Daniela Suznara, also staff in CCP, and also Malika Freeman, who is our first undergraduate Vision Days Legacy ambassador. So the purpose of our project is to explore the creation and implementation of a virtual mentorship program that we've created this past year to benefit first-year college students' sense of belonging and enrollment retention. So our program has been running for the past couple of years called Vision Days. And Vision Days is a campus-wide effort on focusing with the early recruitment of high school students from rural and underrepresented Alabama high schoolers.
Okay, so the state level data indicates nearly 80% of Alabama high school seniors are college ready. And however, this is not the case for students in Birmingham City schools or in the Black Belt, which are the 20%. I am a part of the 20%. In high schools throughout Alabama's Belt Belt region, that figure was closer to 50%. Despite the state average of 80% college readiness, this subset of schools continue to struggle. So within high school Vision Days, high school students between grades 10th and 12th grade will be taught various life skills, as I said in the previous
slide, ACT prep and how to apply for scholarships while being mentored throughout their high school career. When in college, the students, when they graduate and attend UA, they'll be mentored on how to transition from high school to college and encouraged to use their life skills while on campus. They will also have the opportunity to become an ambassador and reach the next line of high school students. And once they graduate and become alumni from UA, they will have obtained the skills to engage within their local communities to further shift the notions of opportunities beyond high school.
And so we are looking to implement this program, but we are also hoping that we can measure the impact that this program not only has on our undergraduate students who are participating as ambassadors, but also on the students that they're reaching who are high school students. Or in order to make sure that this works, we will need to continue to assess it as we go. So we're hoping to look at sense of belonging for undergraduate students, especially these students who are coming in from these underserved areas where they might be a first generation college student or they're not as familiar with higher education. We want to make sure that their sense of belonging is improving on campus, their 4-year retention. So not only are they coming for their freshman year, that first year, but they are staying until they graduate. And then just the other positive student outcomes that are going to be associated with mentorship. The high school students will see a number of positive impacts, or we're hoping that we'll measure those, but some of those will be as simple as basic life skills that they're learning from their mentors. We also want to put a spin on mental health awareness and just making sure that students have a good understanding of work-life balance. And then last, we're hoping that we're cultivating some positive relationships and building trust between the high school students and their college mentors.
And it's important that we take a look at past data on similar programs. While Vision Day's legacy seems to be really unique, we think that we have a pretty good idea of how it's going to impact high schools, the university itself, the state, and the communities that reside inside of it. Alabama high schoolers in these areas need help. We hope to give students the opportunity to have access to a higher education and postgraduate success upon graduating from high school, regardless of their financial status, socioeconomic status. We hope that it impacts those students themselves, the universities which they choose to go to, and also the communities that they will either leave or return to. If you guys want to reach out, learn more, stay connected, I left our emails right here. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Yeah. That video is all great. You got a chance to play it all the way through. We didn't have any problems with that version. So thank you so much, tech team, for making that happen. Full disclosure, I am a part of the Vision Day steering committee, so I'm a little biased as I ask the questions for this particular presentation because I know the tremendous effort that we have in Vision Days. And I want to start out with Kate. If you can, and you worked with me with Gear Up Alabama a couple of years ago, and you know that was a federal program that involved lots of campuses. Vision Days at that time was just getting off the ground. How is it that Vision Days is more than just recruiting students to the university?
So that's a great question, Dr. Daniels. And I think what sets us apart from other institutions or other organizations who are doing things similar to us is that we are keeping it in the communities. And that's something that we recognized doing the program for a couple of years. That wasn't one of our main intentions going into it. Also, I am a grad student, haven't been involved in it forever. But where we are now, we're seeing the need for the empowerment of the students who we set this program up to serve, which are these high schoolers we want to be coming to Alabama to be included in higher education. Now they're here and they are incredible assets to our university and incredible assets to those people who are going through the same process that they did. So I think that's something that's definitely sets Vision Days apart and makes me very proud to be a part of it.
Well, Malika, you can talk about this firsthand because you're one of our ambassadors. First of all, tell us about your major and how your first experiences in the first few, months have been at the university so far.
All right. Hi, my name is Malika Freeman. I'm a mechanical engineering freshman. So basically my experience here it's been rough, but it's been educational as well. So I've learned a lot, hence why I want to come here and make a change so that way the next students will have to go through what I went through. But with this program, like we were able to bring the service back because I come from Woodlawn High School. So I understand when we had our college fair and like we had I have to remember a recruitment person, and he came, and it wasn't really any connection there. But with the ambassador program, we'll be in the classrooms, we'll be talking to them, forming that connection, posting pictures of what we're doing, and like if they have any questions, we can answer those questions and everything. So like Kate said, we're definitely within the community, and we'll stay within the community, and that in itself is very important, especially to me and what I wanted to when I came here.
Now, we know Woodlawn High School is in the east side of Birmingham. Talk about what it takes for a student to get from Woodlawn to Tuscaloosa. What do you think are the barriers, but also the opportunities that come with coming from Birmingham and coming down here to Tuscaloosa to go to school?
Okay, well, with my experience was a bit different. I can just speak on that part, but I always had some type of connection to people, but not everybody who came from Woodlawn had that type of connection. I know I had some friends, they were at home, had to work 3 jobs, hence why they were behind in schoolwork. That in itself is a barrier. So you have home, you have teachers not being encouraging, or you have some who are being encouraging, but they can only do so much. You have financial issues. And I know with Alabama, like I got a full ride, but that was only because I was in early college, and then again with the connections and all that stuff. But again, not everybody has that. Hence why this program, we're going to teach them how to get the scholarships and everything in between and all the writing stuff, because I know my school was very behind in writing, but right with us, we're going to be able to be in there, teach them all that stuff and how to write, how to do basic math, all that good stuff. So that way they can come here and be successful as well, because they have the grit and the opportunity, not the opportunity yet, but they have the grit and they have the hard work to put into it. So therefore they can come here and do it even better than I can.
Grit and hard work, definitely got to have both of those. You mentioned early college, and I want to speak a little bit, if I can ask Kate and maybe Daniela to come on also. Early college is in a different part of the university. It is part of a university, but it's not necessarily part of admissions. It's not part of community affairs per se. To make Vision Day successful, it takes multiple university units working together. How is that a part of this? Talk more about that, Daniela and Kate.
I'll go ahead and talk about it first, Kate. But so like Dr. Daniels mentioned, Vision Days is a cross-campus initiative. So we have different representatives from all of the colleges on campus. We also have different representatives from all of the departments on campus. Maybe not all of them, but we're definitely working our way there. I feel like I meet someone just about every month, and they join us and they get on board. But I think we've heard it a few times on this call, reaching communities and reaching students, it takes more than one person and it takes more than one phone call. And so when we're able to use our connections across campus and use our partnerships across campus to expand our partnerships across the state, then we're really able to reach students and communities, and not only reach them in ways that are beneficial to the university, but reach them in ways that are beneficial to the communities. The students that are coming in and the families that are coming in, they have questions about UA, and we don't know all the answers to those things, but we want to make sure that we can connect them with the people who do have those answers, and can reassure them that, you know, either UA is the right fit for them, or they can put them on a successful track to go beyond high school graduation. And without our campus partners, I don't think we would have been able to grow Vision Days to the extent that it is now. We definitely wouldn't be able to be looking at an ambassador program for the undergraduate students that we've onboarded over the years. So we really do have our campus partners to thank for that.
Excellent.
And I just want to, can I just add a quick little bit? So I remember Amifa speaking in her presentation. She talked about the barriers of community engagement being communication and transportation. And I think one of the strong suits of Vision Days, and especially bringing this new ambassadorship program, is we are closing these gaps we're seeing within communication, different departments, different organizations. What we're trying to do is bridge everyone together so we can provide the most assets we can to these students who need the assets.
That's great. Well, you know what? I want to give our Vision Days ambassador the last word. Malika, as we think about next year's Vision Day students, those who will be coming on and their first year, you'll be a second year by that time. What is the last word on Vision Days you want our audience to hear?
Well, Vision Days in itself, like, it was very impactful for me because it was my main connection to UA. It was actually one of my first in-person interaction. I have to remember, it was like outside in the park and everything. So Vision Days it gave me opportunities. It gave me connections, even more connections and everything. So it definitely bridges the gap.
Congratulations on a successful start at the university, and we look forward to the day that you'll be walking across the stage as a UA graduate. Congratulations to all of us who are working on Vision Days, and Kate in particular, but also Danielle. Let's give them a hand. Our final presentation for today is going to feature another member of our community and Center for Community-Based Partnership team, and that's Andrea Ziegler. Andrea, you're on.
Thank you so much. I think we'll be sharing our video as well. Thank you so much for your interest in the Parent Teacher Leadership Academy. My name is Andrea Ziegler, and I'm Director for PTLA. We have joining us today, Dr. Daniela Susnara, who is our PTLA Program Coordinator. And we also have joining us Dr. Blake Berryhill, Assistant Professor with Human Development and Family Studies, also a research partner with PTLA. Today, we're going to be discussing the community engagement to boost virtual professional development in the Parent Teacher Leadership Academy. The Parent Teacher Leadership Academy is a leadership program that provides selected parents and teachers with opportunities to develop their knowledge and skills as leaders within their schools. These teams are put together through nominations by their school's principal. We use research-based practices to provide the professional development to these parent and teacher leaders, and then they use their knowledge to then support strong partnerships through a project. Their project that they work on together for the year actually deals with a goal off of their school's continuous improvement plan. So the teams collaborate together throughout the year, and we have facilitators that participate through our partnerships with the local school districts, as well as the College of Education. Past research suggests that meaningful school-family partnerships have huge potential to positively impact student outcomes. And this time during COVID-19, we realized we would make some changes to actually help our programs do this. Virtual learning that most schools were having at the time really caused a struggle for engagement. And while we don't know the extent to which COVID-19 will impact student outcomes, in order to help this situation, we wanted to cultivate strong family partnerships.
So PTLA operates on the cohort model. And during the 2019-2020 school year, there were 3 academies. There was the pre-K academy, the elementary academy, and the middle school academy. When PTLA transitioned to the virtual setting, we added the high school academy. And throughout the academy, we collected different kinds of quantitative and qualitative data. There was a pre-post efficacy and leadership capacity survey that we provided, and participants filled out pre and post. Both parents and teachers completed the survey. And after each session, participants filled out feedback forms. And after the academy was over, teachers and parents completed interviews that we then coded to help us improve the academy over time.
Thanks, Blake. So as a part of that larger data collection, today we're going to be looking at some of our preliminary findings using just the qualitative data that we collected from our post-session responses in 2019, as well as our post-session responses this year virtually in 2020. And so some of our themes that emerged was meeting and hearing from the other parents and teachers from different schools. So not just meeting with their team, but being able to collaborate with others. They also really valued the in-session project planning time with their individual school teams, as well as hearing about their school improvement plans and the creation of school improvement plans more broadly. Those were some of the themes that we found consistent in 2019 and 2020. And so coming out of this small data analysis, we also have some of our other findings that will be shared in a bigger study, but we do have some next steps and conclusions based on that. And so one thing that we are going to be sure to do moving forward is continuing to utilize a hybrid approach. Also are going to be using certain sessions to expand the academy. So for example, making sure that we are providing multilingual support, continuing to grow the high school academy, as well as including special education within our sessions.
Thank you again for your interest in the Parent Teacher Leadership Academy. We welcome your questions or your ideas. So there's our contact information. So feel free to reach out to us at any time. Thank you again.
Great video, Andrea. I hope that we have time for a chance to kind of talk more about the research that is associated with PTLA as a train goes through behind my house here. Sorry about that audio. Remind our audience, you do have time to ask questions of the team from PTLA. This is one of our longest running programs, I think, in the Center for Community-Based Partnerships. It is one that has evolved, as you shared with us, now high school. I was interested in the point you were making in the presentation about continuing the hybrid approach. Why continue that? Why not go back to the way it was?
Well, I can certainly speak to that a little bit. Even in the midst of the virtual time that we had this year, one thing that we kept hearing from everyone and our participants was that they really missed that in-person time, which was a common theme this year, but also even in the past. But one thing that we also learned from the virtual experience is that people were much more willing and able to hop on to a Zoom and collaborate while possibly cooking dinner at their house than making a trip over to the university. So we see the value in how that can add that collaboration time for our participants and to be a little more flexible in giving that opportunity.
You spoke about the data that you have already collected. How has PTLA resulted in traditional research publications, or is that a larger part of what you're doing now than maybe in previous years?
Certainly increasing our goals for everything that we're doing in research. And I think really what happened more than anything this year is COVID-19 gave us an opportunity to sort of take a moment and look and see really, since this is a program that has been going for more than a decade, to see really where we can grow and what areas are needed for growth and partnerships. We've enjoyed a wonderful, strong partnership with like 6 local districts, and that's something that we want to continue. And also we see the value in including new districts that maybe have not had these opportunities. One thing that I think is especially unique to PTLA is not just the collaboration time that these parent and teacher teams have within the program, but how they truly develop as leaders in their capacities to further that in their school and their community. So once they're even out or graduated from the program, they can continue those leadership skills in other areas in their school. So that's a long-term goal for us, and that's also where our research is focused.
Outstanding, outstanding. Well, I am excited to hear all the things that are developing and also to see evidence of what we talked about earlier, not just making do in a pandemic. We got to have the Zoom sessions. We got to do things virtually, but making new. You have definitely made some new ways of doing things that have worked. And you also talked about how you take a partnership over a long period of time and continue to develop and expand it and grow it. And it results in even more knowledge about the power of partnering with the community. So thank you so much. Another hand for Andrea and her team.
Thank you.
Well, it has been a great afternoon, and this is just the beginning of our community awards, our community engagement awards, really celebration, 3 days. We're going to wrap up our presentation part of today, and I'm going to toss it back to Drew Pearl for some previews of what's coming up on day 2.
Thanks very much, Dr. Daniels. And thank you to everyone for coming by today, and especially to our presenters for sharing your excellent work. Everyone's full presentations will be available online next week on the Council's website. You'll be able to view their contact information at this link as well, should you have any questions. Be sure to join us again tomorrow at 1 p.m. at the same Zoom link to hear from our 2020 Seed Fund recipients, as well as to congratulate those who will be receiving seed funds for 2021. Thank you all very much and have a wonderful rest of your day.